Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future. In the year 2023, it seems like society at large is on the precipice of massive changes. Artificial intelligence is becoming a legit thing, people are just firing up into outer space like it's nothing, anyone can put on weird-looking goggles and exist in a virtual dimension, and a 7'4" superhuman with tantalizing skill and fluidity is about to enter the NBA this June. I don't know much about the first three things, but I do know a lot about Victor Wembanyama, the French teenage basketball player who has widely been regarded as the best NBA prospect in the world since he was 16 years old and scoring on Rudy Gobert in individual workouts. Since he first burst onto the scene in 2020 though, Wembanyama has only solidified his status as a generational talent. He's dominated international events like the 2021 FIBA U19 World Cup, where he scored 22 points, grabbed 8 rebounds, and swatted 8 shots in a loss to the United States in the championship game. He's had extremely impressive individual performances in the EuroLeague, and this year he's been absolutely dominant in the LNB Pro A, as he's averaging around 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks a game this year and is widely considered the favorite to bring home league MVP honors at the end of the season. Through all of his accomplishments, it's clear that Victor Wembanyama is the future. So let's get to know basketball's next superstar and why exactly he's ready to break the NBA.
Future's now, old man.
So what makes Victor Wembanyama such a gifted and anticipated prospect? Well, it all starts with his offensive skill given his size. With his height of 7'4" inches, maybe 7'5" depending on who you listen to, and his 8-foot wingspan, he's already a physical outlier. But then you add in his fluidity with that size, and you get a generational prospect. The scoring touch Wembanyama displays is otherworldly. He elevates extremely well on turnaround jumpers and three-pointers, and he has a soft release that is pretty much unguardable. There are times where his elbows will literally be at the defender's forehead on his jumpers, like here where Victor's defender just asks how the weather is up there before he sees him drain a 3 in his face. And while he's only connected on around 30% of his three-pointers this season, there's really nothing you can do to prevent Victor from getting a clean look at the basket, and that's a very desirable skill to possess. Not only does he have a super high and clean release, but he also has extremely developed ball handling skills that allow him to create his own shot on the perimeter as well. He can throw together dribble combo moves with relative ease, and because of how much ground he naturally covers, he only needs an inch of separation before he can easily transition into a jump shooting or driving motion, as he can glide to the basket and finish like he's dunking a mini ball on a Nerf hoop. Watch Wembanyama get into his bag here as he just dribbles around 2 defenders and then finishes with an extremely difficult floater. He does have stretches where he does a little bit too much, leading to avoidable turnovers, but in reality, he's only testing what he can get away with on the basketball court, and it'll only improve as his career progresses. And frankly, when you have 7'5" guys who can do this kind of thing, you gotta let him experiment a little bit. Wembanyama's overall dexterity and rubber bandiness leads to some absolutely jaw-dropping plays, like when he had a putback dunk after his own missed 3. Like, come on, who even does this? This is absolutely ridiculous. And all of that is purely on the ball. Off the ball, Wembanyama shows a similar level of promise. He can be implemented into any pick and roll scheme, as his length and fluidity allows him to be a gigantic lob threat around the basket who can rim run and roll with speed, like he does here where he seals his defender before coming up with a nice one-handed catch and then finishing. Or he can pop out of screens for 3-point attempts as well. He can also fly off of screens as a shooter too, and he has great footwork and is really good at squaring up towards the basket before letting his shots fly. Watch how he's facing away from the basket when he catches this ball before turning and firing a 3. And if all else fails, teammates can just throw the ball near the rim when Victor is around the basket, and he'll go catch and finish it. Simply put, what makes Wembanyama so good offensively is that there are multiple avenues for success with him. What I mean here is that I tend to like players that have multiple paths to NBA success. And with Victor, literally every single possible avenue is on the table, and that's what makes him such an incredible offensive prospect. But of course, that's only the half of Victor Wembanyama, because even with his offensive greatness, he's still one of the best defensive prospects the NBA has ever seen too. He's one of the best shot blockers in the class, as he uses his length to just swallow and swat shots that go near him, and he also has a rim presence that deters drivers from even taking shot attempts at the basket. His shot blocking can also extend away from the hoop, as you'll sometimes see him swat 3-point attempts thanks to his length and recovery speed. Here, Victor does all of that in one play, as he'll initially stop the drive and force a kick out before following his man to the 3-point line where he blocks his shot. Wembanyama will certainly spend most of his defensive possessions near the basket purely because of how much value he holds as a rim protector, but I don't think he's someone defenses can attack on the perimeter either. He's held his own in switches, and again, his length is a huge factor in helping him remain viable on the perimeter, as he's able to give drivers a bit of breathing room without presenting them with open jump shots. While he's decently quick and fluid, the length just gives him an extra layer of protection in these situations. Watch how Victor can give the opposing guard a little bit of space on the perimeter and still not be giving up anything defensively, and then when the guard tries to drive on him, Victor blocks the shot. He's also an impactful rebounder who can pretty much get any ball near the basket with his height and reach, and he's really good at just getting one hand on a ball too, where he can tip it out to teammates if he's unable to grab it himself. But that being said, he can still get moved around a little bit too easily, which can limit his effectiveness on the glass. And that leads me into my biggest worry with Wembanyama: physicality. While he's obviously not super deterred by it given how productive he is, I think this is an area of concern, as I'm not sure his frame can support adding extra pounds of strength. For all the good Wembanyama brings, he also has been rather injury prone, as he's had to deal with leg, shoulder, and back injuries already, and players at his height also tend to be more at risk for serious health issues throughout their career. But still, even though he might not add strength, that doesn't make me waver on him as a prospect in total, as I firmly believe he is the best player to enter the NBA in at least 20 years. If his health holds up, Victor Wembanyama is a can't-miss prospect. It's so rare to find players like him with his size, skill, fluidity, coordination, and instincts that it's fair to say that we could be looking at a potential Hall of Fame player when it's all said and done, which admittedly is a lot to expect of a 19-year-old, but I think we need to recognize greatness when we see it, and Victor Wembanyama is certainly worth the hype. Thanks so much for watching, and give me your thoughts below.